Blessings, family. I am on this, well, it's morning. I guess it's morning where you are. It's afternoon where I am, right? 5 hours up. I just wanted to come on and talk about uh, recognizing how the ancestors work through you. I think it's so important that we get in touch with what is happening with us during this time. I'm not going to pretend to be the most spiritual person, but I have always believed that there is a certain energy that moves us, that our ancestors live through us. And for me, that is enough. I've tried all routes. I've been baptized, and I just could never really buy into this whole thing about some Caucasian individual leading our people. If anything, I did believe that there was a brown individual leading us, right? Now I'm back to just the spiritual piece of it. So let me just talk about with this journey to Africa comes the whole spiritual piece, and I don't feel like I'm doing it any justice if I don't talk about that. From the very beginning, I was just having this great pull to be near the ocean, to be in a warm climate. I thought it was just about location, but it was so much deeper than that. I just started looking at things around me as being really fake. Like there were these facades of certain images in my mind. They were breaking down around me, right? I started seeing things much clearer. I started hearing messages differently. I started seeing people differently. Um, so I just decided to start doing some research. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of paying all this rent. I'm going to start looking. I came across a sister that was talking about paying rent for under $400. And I was like, whoa, where's this? When I continued my research, this sister happened to be in the Gambia. And her vibe seemed so warm and welcoming. It's like, y'all need to come home, And I'm like, okay, how many of us are home? As I continued my research, I came across other great YouTubers. I mean, I have a list of folks that are part of me, that are part of sparking this interest in me to explore Africa. And then I thought about it, and I had been in Africa 26 years ago when it wasn't popular. I went there with a dance troupe, and I was in Senegal for 30 days in Dakar, in a village called Malika Village, and the chief there allowed us to stay in huts, and there was no running water, no electricity, all of the things that we take for granted. And I was happy. Like I didn't even miss that stuff. Time I was a vegetarian. I came back real slim and quite dark, which I loved because I love when my complexion has a hue to it. I felt pale when I'm in the States. The cold and the vitamin D deficiency from not having enough sun really affect me during the winter months. Nevertheless, I decided I was going to Africa and I need to get my funds in order to do that. So initially, I was like, you know what? I got to pay up all these little bills that are kind of lagging so that I can start to save this money for my trip. Okay. So what I did was I started looking at extra opportunities to work. Um, that included me working with the census bureau in the States, as well as the polls, the elections. Mind you, the census is supposed to provide money to communities, so I didn't have a problem doing that because I think a lot of times we don't get counted. If they're going to use it for something outside of what they say, we never know. We just hope they're doing the right thing. The other piece was working for the polls. Although I had no interest in the candidates that were presented, I did think that people should have the ability to utilize that right to vote, whether they wanted to or not. So I did go around and encourage people to get out and vote if they were interested. I let them know where the resources were, and both paid very decent money. I actually was able to use the money from the census to pay for my tickets. I think I worked a month and I made a little over $4,000. $4,000 that I didn't have to touch as far as my own personal bills, my household. At that time, I was working I was a consultant for the state as well. I was an investigator for elderly abuse. Um, That position was fine. It was a little boring because of the administrative piece. Due to COVID, we weren't allowed to go out and actually do the investigations. It was a lot of paper pushing. I'm not a paper pusher. I'm more of an active, let's get it done, let's make it happen type of person. So that income was coming in. I had the income from the two side positions I told you about. Also, I run several online stores. So I have like 3 or 4 stores online. And I was getting rid of things that I wanted to start minimizing from my journey to come home in June. So I was selling like mirrors and artwork and stuff like that. Um, so I had income generated, I had little things. So all I've been thinking about is how can I switch my businesses over to the continent. I also, I'm an artist. I have, I work on glassware and clothing. I have designs that I'm publishing and I have copyright on, I'm printing and stuff like that. So I also had that going. So I had several little things going and some projects in mind that I want to proceed with as well. Okay, so from that income, that was the plan, that all of these little things were going to work. And I felt like the ancestors had my back because customers would come in. In addition to that, I had locks for over 20 years. I cut my locks off. I've been natural since. But I still do hair. Like I had that, under the belt. People would stop me. Who did your hair? Your locks look amazing. Blah blah. I had them all down my back. I had to cut them. It was down below my behind. So um, I had a few people approach me about, oh, I heard you used to do locks. I had 3 customers. I did 3 customers' hair. I did locks. So I did some hair. Listen, I was willing to do what I needed to do to get this money together because this was my mission. And I've never felt this strongly about anything before. Anything I want, I just buy. If I don't want it, I don't buy it. I've learned to separate my wants from my needs. And that's important if you're going to make this journey. But you pick up whatever little side hustles you can pick up. Dig in your closet. Get rid of stuff that you're not using. Dig in those drawers in your house. Get rid of all those little electrical gadgets you're not using. Even your toiletries, your perfumes, all that stuff that you're not using, get rid of it. You don't want to bring it to the continent with you anyway. You probably can't pack it properly. And I don't plan to ship anything. So the notion for me was to just get rid of stuff, things that you don't need, things that are not going to bring you value on the continent. So that's the end plan for me. Um, so I just wanted to share that, that, you have options to be able to make money, make additional funds. The ancestors have your back, but you have to put that into motion, right? So let me go back because my whole point of this conversation was to let you all know how the ancestors had my back. Okay. So with the Census Bureau, one day I get a call. I go out with my list of cases on my iPhone, and I am told that I can't put the information in after I've already arrived at my location. So I call my supervisor and I say, listen, this process is not working. It's saying I can't get into the cases. He looks it up. He says, listen, they've been assigned to someone else. Okay. So he gives me the person's number, and I'm thinking, I'm not interested in calling this person. I just want to proceed with my day so I can get back to work because I worked from 8 to 4 on my regular job. Then I work with the census from 4 to 9. Then I'm working on my clothing business after that. So my day is full. I don't want to talk to people that are not generating income for me, quite honestly, right? Time and energy. So I call, I text the person first. I'm like, listen, I have the information you need for these individuals, but I can't put it in. Don't waste your time coming to this bad neighborhood. Here's the information. The person calls me back. Now, mind you, when I first got the name was Mo. I think he said Adamola, something like that. So I was like, okay, you know what? This might be a sister, so a brother. I'm fine with that. If it's a brother, sister, I don't mind calling them. So I text though because I don't know who this person is. So this person calls me back, and it's a sister, and she is African. And she's like, thank you so much for the information. You didn't have to do that. I said, I know, I'm just looking out, not a problem. So we hang up. So she calls me back. She said, I'm in front of a place and I don't feel comfortable. We were just talking, like kind of shooting the breeze about our locations, where they were sending us. I said, when I saw your name, I thought you were a man. She said, I know. Everybody says that. You can call me Mo for short. So we started talking, started kicking it. I was like, listen, only reason I'm doing this job is because I'm planning repatriation. She was like, whoa, I've been thinking about going back home, but I just really didn't even know where to start. Next thing you know, I'm telling her about Limblog. I'm telling her about all the groups I belong to on YouTube and Facebook. I told her what my plan was, how I was getting my funds together. I even introduced her to Move Me Back, some job platforms. She had just been fired from her job. I was let go from my job not too long after I started working with the census. So I just hooked her up with some connections. She's an intelligent sister. There's no reason why she can't do what she needs to do. With that came the hair discussion. She came to get her hair done. She told her friend, the word just kept going, extra money. Just money's coming. Ancestors, like, I do not believe it was a coincidence that I got this sister on the phone and we start talking about Africa. And she was hesitant to go back to her own home and somehow felt like I triggered that motion to maybe we need to move this forward. So I think sometimes you just need that, and I believe that the ancestors are busy this time, they are working hard. Um, After that piece with the ancestors, I also believe me getting let go from my position was the ancestors saying, like, you don't need to be wasting your time here. You got bigger plans and bigger things to do ahead of you. And these 2520s are holding you back from that process. I was cool with that because when I tried to go to Africa initially in August, they was giving me beef about how much time I was taking. They didn't want to pay for the vacation. I shouldn't have made the book the ticket, all this extra stuff. So when they let me go, I was like, oh, okay, honey, I'm out. I'm out and I'm going to stay as long as I want. So that process happened. Then little things just kept happening. Like people was coming back into my life that I haven't spoken to in a while. They was like, yo, I would be interested in any investments you get into. Get your feet on the ground. Let me know how we could help. It's just been a process connecting with people on YouTube that are like family members closer to me in energy than my own family who's physically present. So, that's deep. That's real deep. And I don't take that for granted. Also, I noticed that a lot of people that was born in like August, same time around my birth, around the same age, going into that second chapter of life, was all in interviews and posting stuff about moving to Africa. I'm like, this is not a coincidence. Anybody who want to say it's a coincidence, that's on you. I know what I'm feeling. Even in my dreams, I see myself on the continent working side by side with people that I've seen on YouTube. When I tell you I finally get to the continent and then the connections are just happening, and it's crazy because there was some self-doubt that came in initially, like, you struggling here. How you gonna struggle here and then use the little bit of funds you have to try to move someplace else? But I believe that the mission is so much bigger than remaining in the States and struggling and trying to live from check to check and working multiple positions, especially when people are not appreciating your talents and you're not willing to bow down to the nonsense. So I'm willing to make that sacrifice. If I could hustle, break my back for somebody else, I definitely could do it for myself and my own. That's my feeling. So I guess, in addition to the whole piece about the ancestors, when I tell you there's something else more personal, internally, I was feeling like, when you feel real passionate about something and you kind of get like a tremble to your voice, like a shaky feeling. Um, I had that. Anytime I opened my mouth to speak, I had that. It was like, it was such a strain to let emotions go. So YouTube, has been therapeutic as well. Knowing that there are people out there who need to hear the message, that need assistance, has really filled my heart and let me say I could let all that energy go. And especially once I hit the continent, little aches and pains was gone. Your body starts to cleanse itself. Females, you will find your body cleansing itself in a way that you thought was never going to happen again. Males, you will find yourself enlightened, right? I think the wisdom just kind of pours in. There's an openness. You are receptive to the energy of the motherland. That is spiritual. That is energy. That is high vibration. So at the same time, you hear people saying things like, only the best should come, and, you know, let low vibration people shouldn't even come. That, I don't know. I'm not really with all of that. I think that everybody has a role to play in this struggle. Everybody has a role to play. If you make it to the continent and you come with good intentions, then all the best for you. If you make it to the continent and you come with bad intentions, I believe that the ancestors will take care of you. I don't feel the need to put bad vibes on people. Um, Other ways the ancestors are working, initially my son was like hesitant about coming with me. This is his last year of high school. They was making it sound like they were not going to approve the trip. And I was telling him, whether they approve the trip or not, you come into Africa straight out. Like, it's not even a debate. I birthed you, okay? They only get a part of educating you. It is my job to make sure I prepare you for manhood. They can't do that, okay? Um, it's my job, and it is his father's job. So let me be clear about that, because you always hear me say my son. I am divorced, okay? My son, our son, you will never hear me say like I'm a single mom, even though it probably appears that way to a lot of people. Uh, I have a difference of opinion about that. I think that, in my situation, if I have made a child with my ex-husband and we are not together, he is very much a part of his son's life. Okay? Talk to him every morning, every night on the phone. They spend time together. They have their own relationship outside of my relationship with him, which is non existent. However, my dad died when I was very young. So my feeling was there's no bond like a child with their dad, right? So I didn't think it was a good reason for me to stay in a relationship that wasn't working out. But there was no reason why I would ever, ever deprive my son from having his father's attention, his love, his care. We didn't always agree, but that to me had nothing to do with my son. If I'm beefing with you or we have a disagreement, the child has nothing to do with that. So I hear a lot of women say, "Oh, I'm a single mother." I'm thinking, but how you a single mother if the father in the picture? You ain't single. Single. I grew up in a single parent home. Okay, there was no man present. Period. My mother raised us by herself until she met my stepdad, and he was kind of like, in and out the picture, but he was there every night. He came home every night. He gave what he could give. So that didn't make her a single mom at that point. But from the time that my dad passed away when I was 2 to she met my stepdad, she was a single mom. She didn't have nobody she could turn to. There were no relatives, there were no uncles or all of that trying to help her out. She did it on her own, and I remember it clearly. So I know the difference between a single mom, a woman who is raising her child, doing the best she can, trying to call herself the mother and the father because she's filling those roles. I don't feel the need to fill those roles. Okay, I fill the role as a mother who wants to raise a good man, that if his wife or his children need him, he knows how to tap into that feminine energy, that nurturing energy, and show them what a good man looks like. He can clean, he can cook, he will be able to take care of his wife if she needs him to take care of her, right? But at the same time, he will lead his home. So I'm clear about that. He's not clear about that. He's only 18. So I have to make sure I drop the little jewels and put that in there. The importance of him coming to Africa had to do with the fact that we live in a primarily Caucasian area. So for me, it was important. I'm sorry, that was my son clicking. Hold on, I'm gonna pause y'all for a second. Come on and say hi to the people. Say hi. I'm on live. That's my baby, 18. Hold on, y'all. Let me see what this boy wants. All right, y'all. So My son is going to get his tattoo today, so he's coming upstairs and telling me that he contacted, the other young people in the house want to also go, and I'm like, whatever, just let me know. We're gonna proceed with our day, and when you go out, like I said, in Africa, you get dozens of things accomplished. So I have a couple of things I want to do. I'm gonna get some. I want to pick up some detergent so I can hand wash some clothes. I picked up a lot of lightweight items that I need to hand wash. Yeah, I'm old school. My mother raised me right. I can sew, I can cook, I can hand wash some stuff, I can clean a house. I do what I need to do. That's why I know I can go to Africa and be fine because I don't need all the extra. I don't care nothing about appliances. I don't care nothing about bathtubs. I don't need a bathtub to be clean, right? I know how to use a basin of water, clean my body, okay, entire body, hair, all that, come out looking sparkly clean because that's how I was raised. So, some of us was prepared for this struggle and some of us wasn't. In any case, back to the ancestors. Always feeling like there's been a part of an ancestor, of course we know this, in my DNA that has pushed me in a direction to want certain things, to accept certain circumstances, to live a certain life, right? So the life that my ancestor has pushed me toward, my ancestors, has been to live by the water, to soak in the sun, to be able to spend this time with my son. Mind you, I named him Aman after an Egyptian sun god, right? And it meant leader and teacher, and that's who he is. He's good people. He's a mediator with his friends. He's just always that guy that looks at the positive side of things. And I need him to be an optimistic African man in this world because there's so many negative things that happen. So the point of my video is for you all to look at the role that the ancestors are playing in your life and how they are pushing you in the direction you need to go. You may not even recognize that there's been a bunch of little, I'm not going to say red flags, let's say black flags. A bunch of black flags waving, telling you this is what you need to do, and you thinking it's you. It's not you. It's not you. It's happening because that's them speaking through you, trying to push you to a course. Follow the course. Don't be afraid. You'll have that little voice telling you, are you crazy? Why are you trying to do this now? Or this ain't gonna never happen for you. Even negativity from people around you trying to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. I remember when I was going to meet the brother yesterday at Cape Coast, there was a part of me thinking, how you know this going to be the same person from YouTube? How you know this ain't a scam? And what if you get out there and nobody picks you up? And I said, you know what? No matter what, I'm going. I'm going. If I get there and this individual don't show up within the hour, I'm leaving. We going to the dump. Like I always have a plan B, C, and D. So I'm not really worried about if somebody don't do their part because it is my responsibility to do my part. Okay? So the ancestors are doing their part. How are you going to do yours? Blessings, family. Stay strong, stay resilient. Drop any comments below.